Adam Schefter, how are we doing today?
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys and everybody in the Boston area.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. I just saw you tweeted something like 9 seconds ago about Fred Warner, so the grind never stops, and we appreciate you taking some time out of breaking all these stories to come on and chat with us today. I wanted to talk about something that I heard you say on Monday on the Pat McAfee show. It was the guy with the mullet, Boston Connor, asking you about Jerod Mayo and Robert Kraft, and sort of at what point does ownership start maybe reassessing what they've put together here for a staff. I was wondering, was that informed speculation, or were you kind of just spitballing there? Do you think that there is a chance, or have you heard anything about the Krafts maybe, I don't know if buyer's remorse is the right term, but starting to reconsider some of the decisions they made this past offseason?
Well, I think that every team evaluates where it's at every season, and I don't think that the entire staff that is there now will be there next season. I just, they'll review things and they'll make adjustments where they see they're needed. And again, I think the most important asset and commodity that franchise has right now is its quarterback. And you want to make sure that quarterback is in the best possible care. So that's up for them to sit down and make a decision. Are we surrounding Drake Maye right now with the best possible people and best possible coaching that we can? And I think that that's a discussion that they have to have after the season. I'm sure they will, and we'll see where that goes.
Do you think that also crosses over into the front office? I know we take a lot of calls, and there's a lot of people that have questions about Elliott Wolf and his offseason running the Patriots draft and free agency. Do you think he could be a guy that'd be on a hot seat?
I don't see that right now. Again, this is his first time, so to speak, as a GM, and he's just gotten started, and he really didn't get that position until after the draft, or really before the draft, but named official after the draft. I think that anybody needs time to implement their own program and make sure that it works out the way they want. Look, that's up to the Krafts to sit down after the season and make decisions that they feel are necessary. But I haven't heard that being the case. But you never know.
Okay. One thing I wanted to follow up with you on, Adam, and you mentioned that T. Higgins was probably going to be cut loose by the Cincinnati Bengals. I know that's someone that's at the top of a lot of Patriots fans' wish list. I hope it's on top of Elliott Wolf's wish list. Have you heard anything else about any of these other, I don't want to say premier wide receivers, but guys that the Patriots may be interested in who are in danger of shaking loose at some point in the offseason? Is there any more scuttlebutt going on with names of tackles maybe, or other wide receivers? Or the Patriots need a lot of help, edge rushers, cornerbacks. There's a lot of holes to fill.
Well, first and foremost, the Bengals aren't cutting loose T. Higgins.
Right.
He is cut up, and he becomes a free agent after the season, and he gets to go where he wants. And that's to his benefit after being franchise tagged this year. So we'll see what he decides to do. And like I said, I think he goes to the highest bidder. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are willing to spend a lot of money on probably the number one free agent in this free agent class. I'm not on the free agent class on November 27th yet to tell you who would or would not be able to help New England. But I would say that T. Higgins would be an obvious target. And I don't know who the top free agent offensive linemen are just yet. I'm not there. I'm living in a playoff coaching world right now. There's time to get to that.
We used to live there, Adam. We used to live in that same world. We don't live there anymore. We're on the other side of the street now. It's a hard adjustment for us. I hope you appreciate that at least.
Yeah. Listen, you want to know who your team is? I got it. And the only thing I would say is I would expect them to be active in trying to upgrade their roster to once again surround Drake Maye with as much talent as possible, to protect him as much as possible. And everything that this organization does should be built around the idea is, does it make our quarterback safer and better? And as long as that's the case, then they can go spend whatever they want. But everything has got to be designed around making it safer and better for Drake Maye.
Adam, you and I both know that Mike Florio does a nice job posting juicy stories on Pro Football Talk. Sometimes there's fact in them, and sometimes maybe they're just speculation. I'm wondering what you thought of the Aaron Rodgers, Bill Belichick could be a combo somewhere next year post that he had recently.
I didn't see it. I never read it. Bill's going to sift through his options, and if that was one that made sense, sure, but I don't see that right now as a likely combination. I mean, first of all, Bill's got to get a job. Where's he getting the job? Who's the quarterback there? Like, that's like 8 steps down the road. And, I mean, we could have fun like that with anything and make it nice and splashy, but I'm not there right now.
We're talking with Adam Schefter, ESPN. Adam, I was curious, in your career, you've broken thousands of stories, probably more than that. Was there ever a story or info that you got that you thought, this guy's setting me up, this isn't real, I gotta really like, what's the most outrageous tip you got that ended up being a real story that you thought was someone maybe trying to trick you or play a joke on you or something like that?
Well, I mean, I think that's just part of the job, right? You hear things all the time, you're like, what can that be? And the biggest stories are the ones that are the hardest to believe. So, I mean, I don't know which one that is, but that's always the fun of this job, is hearing like, oh boy, like, there's nothing that gets my juices going more than hearing something like, this is about to go down, this is in the works, keep your eye on this. I mean, I love that. That's currency to me. And the great part is you get to do it every day and hear things that you wouldn't believe, and some of them turn out to be true, and many of them turn out not to be true. But I mean, I hear it all the time. Like, I'm on the phone, with teams, and they're like, "Yeah, we're thinking of doing." I'm like, "Oh boy, oh boy," and then they change their minds, or it doesn't happen. And then sometimes it does. Like, again, just think about any big story. You're like, whoa, right? That's your reaction. So you could only imagine what it would be like hearing about it in advance of that as it's being formulated and processed and finalized. And so that's probably the best part of my job. Love that part. Hearing the things that are going on behind closed doors that people don't always hear about, that turn out to be reality in the cases that they do.
A relatively big story this week was Daniel Jones done with the Giants and landing with the Vikings on their practice squad. What's sort of the thinking from both parties involved on that newfound marriage?
Well, it's pretty simple. I mean, if you're Daniel Jones, where you've gotten beaten up in New York physically and mentally for 5-6 years now, you're looking to get to a safe space physically and mentally. Like, you're looking to go somewhere where the coach is going to nurture you, where the organization is going to protect you, where you're playing meaningful games in November and December, where you're part of something that's fun. All that is Minnesota right now. All that. Kevin O'Connell, NFC North, winning games. What's the Vikings record right now? I think it's like 9-2. So right then and there, that's a big win for Daniel Jones. The Giants are paying his $11+ million this year. And if you're the Vikings, who've been through any number of quarterbacks the past couple of years, you're saying, okay, well, we get to have Daniel Jones, so we get another quarterback if we need one. We'll start him out on the practice squad. We'll have him ready to back up Sam Darnold if needed. Sam Darnold, there's a decent chance that after the season he winds up leaving Minnesota because they have J.J. McCarthy, who we don't know whether he will or won't be ready for the start of the season. Maybe he will. Hopefully he will. And then, in addition to that, you got a guy in Daniel Jones. Maybe he likes it in Minnesota so much. Maybe he likes Kevin O'Connell so much. He says, you know what, let me – I don't love my options on the free agent market. Let me spend another year here for 1 year, $7 million, and I'll be in Minnesota for that period of time. And so they get to try him out. He gets to try them out. And if he stays, that's great for them. And if he doesn't, then they get a compensatory draft pick for next year.
True, yeah, that's a pretty good deal as far as they're concerned. Adam, before we let you go here, what's Thanksgiving like in the Schefter house? Are you working tomorrow? Do you put the phone down for at least like part of dinner, or are you just is it just a normal work day? What's the food spread like? What's your day like tomorrow?
Well, we go to my wife's cousins for Thanksgiving. Okay. So there's about 40 people there.
Wow.
And I like to just pull up to the couch and we bring over some desserts and they do some cooking and everybody brings something and get to hang out. And, that's sort of the way it rolls. But it's a nice thing. I like the holiday so much because it's all about family, food, and football. There's no religion, no. It's just sit around, hang out, be with your family, watch football, stuff your face. I'm good with that anytime anybody wants.
Just to put a bow on last week, I assume you were able to sort of soothe the relationship with your wife and the questions and the couch and anything that went down there. Are we good there?
Well, if I say something about it, then it could turn to another headline or another. Yeah, she's not talking to me, so if they want to turn that into another headline, that's great.
All right. Very good. Well, Adam Schefter, very happy Thanksgiving to you. Thanks for the time today. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving back to you. That's Adam Schefter, ESPN, joining us here on WEEI.